Welcome to the Meditation Realm Planeswalkers. I'm Caleb, your guide to the Blind Eternities, and in today's video, we've got the Next Brothers War Commander deck. We're opening up Mishra's Burnished Banner. We're going to check out the new cards and enjoy the retro-framed deck. Again, I am so stoked that they did this whole deck in retro frame. I kind of hope they do things like this going forward. The retro frame definitely hits the nostalgia button for a lot of the old school Commander players. And our box got the usual stuff. I like that. Oh, nice. So they did give the corresponding tokens to put out for your for some of the creatures in the deck. I think they should start doing this now and actually put the 1/1 counters, Vigilance, Flying, Lifelink, Trample, etc. onto those tokens instead of just the magic symbol that they were doing before. Make them a little more utility. Alright. And the commander deck has its usual stuff, its notes, its spin down wheel. The commander decks now come with a collector booster sample, and we're going to open up the 2 collector booster samples from the 2 commander decks here in another video, see if we get lucky. I'm curious to see if there's a possibility to get either the Shattered Glass Transformers cards in the sample packs, or if you have a chance to get serialized cards in the sample packs. If either one are possibilities, the value of these commander decks, I think, are going to shoot up a lot. Alright, we're going to look at the face of the deck. We got Mishra, the Eminent one. He's a 5/4 for 5. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of target non-creature artifact you control, except its name is Mishra's War Form, and it's a 4/4 construct artifact creature in addition to its other types. It gains haste until end of turn, and then sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. I think he's really strong, really aggressive. And then the other face is Ashnod, the Uncaring, 5-drop 1/4 with Death Touch. Whenever you activate an ability of an artifact or creature that isn't a mana ability, if one or more permanents were sacrificed to activate it, you may copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. So she's pretty good with those sacrilated artifacts, As her name gives, Ashnod Altar. You sacrifice a creature, you copy the ability, you get 4 colorless mana. So, yeah, I can see this being strong with this, strongly themed around those decks. Alright, we got a good reprint, Fact or Fiction, Thirst for Knowledge, a Braid, Expressive Iteration. Oh, and this looks so sweet in the retro frame. Too bad it just recently got banned in, I believe it was Pioneer, so it's not as valuable and sought out anymore. Oni Cult Anvil, Dreamstone Hedron, Felbar Stone, Hedron Archive, Ichor Wellspring, Mindstone, Cerberus Schematic, Soul Ring, Thran Dynamo, Buried Ruin, Crumbling Necropolis, and it's got a new art too. That's really sweet. Demure Aqueduct, Is It Boilerworks, Myriad Landscape, Rakdos Carnarium, Reliquary Tower, Mnemonic Sphere, Thoughtcast, Executioner's Capsule, Feed the Swarm. I think this is starting to be a real commander staple. Black being able to destroy enchantments is very necessary. There's usually somewhere in your game where somebody's got some enchantment that's hosing you over, and for Black to have at least 1 or 2 answers in the deck to tutor up is very important. Faithless Looting, Arcane Signet. I already said Arcane Signet in the retro frame is going to be highly sought after. Commander Sphere. We got Demir Signet. And on to the new cards. We got Glint Raker, a 1/3 flyer for 4. It gets +X/+O, where X is the highest mana value among artifacts you control. Whenever Glint Raker deals combat damage to a player, you may reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put an artifact card revealed this way into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. So he can be kind of a big flyer for 4 mana, and then he's card advantage. You can look at the top, get 1. Playable, absolutely. Terracera's Devastation, 4-drop and X. You lose X life and create X tapped Power Stone tokens. Then all creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn for each artifact you control. Okay, so we got a good old-fashioned blackboard wipe that creates some mana value and being able to put out a bunch of artifacts, which is, black is actually pretty good at mana ramping, so this way you just literally get to create a bunch of extra mana ramp at the cost of life and blow out the board. I definitely think this is going to be playable in a lot of decks. Last Furnace Hellkite. It has Artifact Offering. You may cast this spell as though it had Flash by sacrificing an artifact and paying the difference in its mana cost between this and the sacrificed artifact. Mana cost includes color. So that's really, really good. I can imagine, your opponent's about to destroy your Gear Hulk, Combustible Gear Hulk, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm going to respond. I'm going to sacrifice my Gear Hulk, take 6 mana off, and then flash in this guy for 3 more mana. Ooh, yeah, I definitely see this guy seeing some play. Or even to sacrifice another 4 or 5 drop artifact that your opponent's about to shatter, some sort of effect, and just pay another 4 or 5 mana and play this guy. And then it has Flying, Double Strike, and creatures attacking your opponents have Double Strike. So he just makes your opponents want to attack each other more or hurt each other more. All of your stuff attacking your opponents get Double Strike as well. This guy is really good. Really good. We have Fareed, the Enterprising Salvager, a 3/3 for 3. Whenever a non-token artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a colorless artifact token named Scrap. And for 1 and a red, you can sacrifice an artifact, choose 1. You can put a 1/1 counter on Fareed, it gains menace until end of turn. You can go to creature, or you can discard a card and then draw a card. Okay, so this helps create a little bit of value with the artifact strategy you have going in. Machine God's Effigy. I think this might be the best card in the Commander set, and if not the best sleeper card that's going to be. It's a 4-drop artifact. You may have Machine God's Effigy enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's an artifact, and it has tap to add blue. It's not a creature. You can also just tap it to add blue. So it can just be, the floor of this guy is just a 4-drop artifact that adds a blue mana, which is, pretty weak. But more likely you're going to play it as a clone, as a copy of a creature that can add a blue. That, I see this doing a lot of work. Speaking of a guy doing a lot of work, we have the Scavenged Brawler. It's a 6-drop, 4/4 artifact creature with Flying, Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, and you can pay 5 and exile it from your graveyard. Choose target creature. You put 4 1/1 counters, a Flying counter, a Vigilance counter, a Trample counter, and a Lifelink counter on that creature. You don't activate this ability as a sorcery, but this guy does work by himself, and when your opponents blow it up, if they don't exile it from your yard, you can just make a dude bigger and keep it on going. That is real scary. Smelting Vat is a 4-drop artifact that you can pay 1 and tap it, sacrifice another artifact, you reveal the top 8 cards of your library, put up to 2 non-creature artifact cards with total mana value less than or equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value from among them onto the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, this allows you to be able to sacrifice some cards, get out more advantage. You're going to sacrifice 1, net 2. Making a non-creature is kind of limiting, so you might whiff and only get 1 every once in a while. But, being able to sacrifice big things like Metalwork Colossus, get like 11 mana worth of things, and then just sacrifice 2 other cheap stuff to get the Colossus back, I can see this seeing a lot of play. Absolutely. We have a Wondrous Crucible. It's a 7-drop artifact. Permanents you control have Ward 2. At the beginning of your end step, mill 2 cards, then exile a non-land card at random from your graveyard. Copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Interesting. So it's kind of a randomizer. Play stuff from your yard, and it exiles it, and you get copies, so you can replay permanents or replay any spell. hit something like a removal or counterspell. Obviously, that's not as good sometimes, but I can see this doing a lot of work, especially if you can cheat it out and start just reanimating stuff from, recasting spells from your yard. I think I'll do some work. All right, now we're on to the reprints. Muzio, the Visionary Architect. We got Geth, Lord of the Vault. The Herald of Anguish. That looks like new art to me. Joyra, the Weatherlight Captain. Silas Wren, Seeker Adept. Lithoform Engine. I'm surprised they put this into a commander deck. This card is so amazing. I'm looking forward to busting this out with all the different copy effects that they have going on now. Ooh, sweet. Emery, Lurker of the Loch. Master Transmuter. Padim, Consul of Innovation. Workshop Elders. Fane, the Broker. Audacious Reshapers. Blasphemous Act. Always like the best red removal still. Chaos Warp. Well, that's good. You got the best red warp board wipe and the best target red removal in this deck. That's good. Cursed Mirror. This is a great mana ramp that came in another commander deck a little while ago. Being able to become a haste copy of a creature until end of turn, attack somebody, and then it can be just a mana rock for the rest of the game. It's really strong. Hellkite Igniter. Slowbad, the Goblin Tinkerer. Bedevil. Brutaclad. Idol of Oblivion. Speaking of Metalwork Colossus, the deck's got him. Mirrorworks. Oblivion Stone. Spinovish Saw. Strionic Resonator. Copying Abilities. Trading Post. Traxos, Scourge of Crew, and a new art. That's pretty sweet looking. I like that. Dark Water Catacombs, Exotic Orchard, Shadowblood Ridge, Smoldering Marsh, Temple of Deceit, Temple of Epiphany, Temple of Malice. I think all the temples have new art too. They look new. Mycosynth Wellspring, Nihil Spellbomb, Prophetic Prism, Rakdos Signet, Wayfarer's Bauble, Ash Barrens, Command Tower, Drossforge Bridge, the Great Furnace in the new art and that retro frame. Oh, I'm just such a big fan of this retro frames. Again, I think they're going to be really sought after later on. Mist Vault Bridge, Path of Ancestry, Seed of the Synod, Silver Bluff Bridge, Terramorphic Expanse, Vault of Whispers. And now we got our basics. We got Swamp, Swamp, Swamp. So there's 2 arts for the Swamp. We got Island, Island. Okay, yeah, so 2 arts for the Island. I think it's 2 arts for each. And then the Mountains. Yeah, the Mountains don't look as good, in my opinion. Alright, then we got our thick face card. We got Mishra. And we got all the tokens, which I think really would have been great if they had made these retro as well. But, I guess you didn't really have retro tokens. Or as many. I know they did make some. They could have done it. Missed opportunity. But, still, pretty unique deck. The fact that they did the entire deck in retro is pretty sweet. I'm looking forward to see if there's going to be a continued theme with certain decks going forward, or if they're going to start doing some other different themes with commander decks. Maybe they'll do like a different Phyrexian style themed with the next ones that are coming out. We'll see. Thanks for joining me, Planeswalkers. Always happy to have you here. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you here in the next video.